My name is Edith R. McClinton. I was 28 years old when my boyfriend asked me to wait quietly while he decided whether he wanted me or his ex-girlfriend. Okay, I said. I'll wait. Nathan smiled because he believed he had won. The next morning, while he was at work, I packed my belongings and disappeared. He returned to an empty apartment and called me 87 times. I never answered. He never got to make his decision. Nathan and I met in college while studying business. I worked part-time jobs between classes and carefully counted every dollar, while he came from a family that could afford weekend trips and tuition without loans. He was charismatic, reckless, and impossible to ignore. I was quieter, dependable, the woman who planned ahead and arrived early. We dated for 4 years and moved into an apartment together after graduation. I believed we were building a stable future. Whenever Nathan struggled, I became the foundation. 2 years into our relationship, he lost his first marketing position when the company downsized. He spent days questioning his talent and barely left the bedroom. I covered the rent. I cooked his favorite meals. I revised his resume and stayed awake conducting mock interviews until he could answer every question confidently. "You're my rock," he whispered one night, holding me tightly. I believed that meant something permanent. When his parents began an ugly divorce, his mother depended on him for constant emotional support. Nathan passed that weight to me. I listened for hours. When his mother arrived unexpectedly with several bags and nowhere to stay, I gave her our bedroom and slept on the sofa. Nathan kissed my forehead that night. "I don't know what I would do without you." I also rejected a higher-paying job in another city because Nathan said he was not ready to move. I thought sacrifice was what people did when they planned to grow together. Then, 6 months before everything ended, Nathan changed. He became protective of his phone. Date nights turned into silent meals while he scrolled through messages. He began mentioning Jenna, his high school girlfriend. She had cheated on him years earlier, but they remained connected online. "Jenna just came back from another road trip," he said one evening. "She still knows how to live." I tried to laugh. "We can plan a trip." "That's the problem, Edith. Everything with you has to be planned." The comparisons became sharper. Jenna was spontaneous. Jenna was adventurous. Jenna understood passion. I was reliable, safe, predictable. I organized surprise picnics and weekend hikes, but Nathan canceled them for work events or nights with friends. Intimacy faded. Whenever I asked what was wrong, he accused me of hovering. Then came the Thursday night that ended everything. We had finished eating takeout on our worn sofa. The television played quietly in the background. Nathan set down his fork and folded his hands as if he had rehearsed what he was about to say. "Edith, I've been thinking about what I want." My stomach tightened. "Jenna contacted me several weeks ago. She's changed. She started therapy and says she regrets what happened between us." "You've been talking to her?" "Yes." "How often?" "That isn't the point." "It feels like the point." Nathan leaned back. "I'm not sure you're the woman I want right now." The room became unbearably quiet. "What does that mean?" "You're wonderful, dependable. But Jenna excites me. She makes me feel alive." "And I don't?" "You've become predictable." He said it gently, which somehow made it crueler. "I need time to explore this connection before making a permanent decision." I stared at him. "You want to date your ex while I wait here?" "I'm trying to be honest." His mouth curved into a faint, confident smile. "Most men would simply cheat. I'm respecting you enough to explain." "Respecting me?" "Give me 1 or 2 months. If I choose you, our relationship will be stronger because I'll know for certain." "And if you choose her?" "We'll handle that when it happens." He wanted me suspended inside our relationship while he tested whether another woman offered something better. Nathan reached for my hand. "If you love me, you'll understand. I need to think about my happiness too." Years of sacrifice flashed through my mind. The rent I paid, the career opportunity I rejected, the nights I carried him emotionally while he called me his rock. Now I was not a partner. I was insurance. Still, I did not yell. I nodded slowly. "Okay." His shoulders relaxed. "I'll wait." Nathan smiled with visible relief. Thank you. I knew you would understand. He kissed my cheek and immediately picked up his phone, probably to message Jenna. That night, he slept peacefully beside me while I stared at the ceiling. At first, my thoughts were frantic. How had 4 years become an audition? Why did loyalty make me easier to disrespect? Then clarity arrived. Waiting was Nathan's plan. It did not have to be mine. The following morning, he left for work in an unusually cheerful mood. We'll talk more tonight, he called from the doorway. I waited until his car disappeared. Then I pulled 2 duffel bags from the closet. I packed my clothes, laptop, books, documents, and the watch my father had given me at graduation. I left the furniture, television, and kitchen appliances. I was not interested in fighting over objects from a life that no longer existed. Memories followed me through every room. The wall we had once painted blue. The sofa where I comforted him after losing his job. The kitchen table where his mother cried while I made coffee. Each memory hurt, but none persuaded me to stay. On the counter, I placed my key beside a short note. Good luck with your decision, Edith. Then I loaded my car and drove to my friend Marcus's apartment. He opened the door, saw the bags, and stepped aside. You can stay as long as you need. At 6 that evening, my phone began ringing. Nathan. Again. Then again. By midnight, there were 87 missed calls. His first voicemail sounded confused. His fifth sounded panicked. His final message was furious. I thought you agreed to wait. I stared at the screen. Then I blocked his number. I had agreed to wait. I simply never said where. The silence after I blocked Nathan felt strange at first. For 4 years, every decision in my life had included him. Even when he was not physically beside me, I was considering his schedule, his emotions, or what might make things easier for him. Now, there was only me. That first night, I lay awake on Marcus's lumpy sofa, staring at the ceiling while Nathan's words repeated in my mind. Safe, dependable, predictable. He had taken every quality he once praised and turned it into evidence that I was no longer enough. The betrayal was not only that he wanted Jenna, it was his certainty that I would remain available while he explored her. The following morning, Marcus handed me coffee and sat across from me. You did the right thing, he said. It doesn't feel right. It won't yet. I looked down at the cup. 4 years disappeared in one conversation. No, Marcus replied. They showed you exactly what they were worth to him. Nathan's attempts to reach me continued almost immediately. He sent emails from his work account. Edith, please stop acting irrationally. We agreed that you would wait. Then another arrived. I was being honest with you. Most people would appreciate that. By afternoon, his tone had changed. I was probably going to choose you anyway. You ruined everything by leaving. I deleted every message. Nathan's friends soon joined the campaign. His closest friend, Samuel, wrote that Nathan was devastated and that disappearing without a proper conversation was cruel. His sister, Melissa, called from an unfamiliar number. Nathan is barely eating, she said when I answered. You owe him an explanation. He already has one. What explanation? He asked me to wait while he dated another woman. I chose not to. You misunderstood him. No. I finally understood him. I ended the call. Nathan's mother left an even harsher voicemail. Edith, we considered you family. Packing your things while Nathan was at work was dishonest and immature. A good woman would stand by the man she loves while he works through confusion. A good woman. For years, that phrase had meant sacrificing quietly, paying rent without complaint, sleeping on the sofa while his mother occupied our bedroom, rejecting opportunities because Nathan was not ready. Apparently, being good also meant accepting humiliation with grace. I refused. Within a week, I rented a small studio on the other side of town. The walls were beige, the furniture secondhand, and the refrigerator made a rattling sound every night. Still, it was mine. No one there compared me to Jenna. No one expected me to wait for a decision that should never have existed. I returned to the gym after months of neglecting myself around Nathan's schedule. I started running before work and hiking with old friends on Saturdays. At the office, I threw myself into a difficult account that had been stalled for months. My manager noticed the change. "You have more energy lately," she said. I stopped carrying something that wasn't mine. She smiled, although she did not know what I meant. The hardest moments came in the mornings. I would wake up and briefly forget everything. Then I would remember the apartment, the note, and Nathan's victorious smile when I agreed to wait. Sometimes I wondered whether he had chosen Jenna. That question embarrassed me. Even after leaving, part of me still wanted proof that I had mattered more. Marcus reminded me that healing was not a straight line. "You don't miss the man who asked you to wait," he said one evening. "You miss the man you thought he was." He was right. 3 weeks after I left, Nathan emailed me again. "Edith, I made a mistake. Jenna isn't what I thought. Can we meet?" I stared at the message. Not because I wanted to answer, because it had happened faster than I expected. A mutual friend eventually explained why. Nathan had started seeing Jenna almost immediately after I disappeared. He believed my absence had freed him to pursue the excitement he claimed to need. But Jenna was not interested in building a stable relationship. She canceled plans without warning, disappeared for entire weekends, and openly flirted with other men. When Nathan questioned her, she accused him of being controlling. The irony was almost too perfect. Still, he continued chasing her. He told friends that their connection was intense and complicated. What he meant was that she treated him unpredictably, and he confused anxiety with passion. Nathan began posting vague messages online about loyalty and abandonment. One read, "Some people promise to stay, then disappear when life gets difficult." I deactivated my accounts rather than respond. He wanted an audience. I wanted peace. A month later, Nathan showed up at my workplace. Fortunately, I was meeting a client off-site. A coworker called me. "There's a man here asking for you. He looks upset. Tell security I don't want to see him." When Nathan realized I was not coming, he left a handwritten envelope at reception. Inside was a 6-page letter explaining that Jenna had confused him, that he had been overwhelmed, and that my departure prevented him from thinking clearly. Near the end, he wrote, "You never gave me the chance to choose you." That sentence erased every trace of guilt I had left. Nathan still believed my value depended on being selected. He did not understand that the moment he asked me to compete for my own relationship, he had already lost the right to choose. I tore the letter in half and dropped it into the trash. That evening, I stood on the tiny balcony of my studio, watching lights appear across the city. My new life was smaller than the one I had shared with Nathan, but it was honest. I was no longer waiting for him. For the first time in years, I was choosing myself. By the 3rd month, Nathan's situation had stopped looking like romantic confusion and started looking like collapse. I did not search for updates. They arrived through mutual friends who had grown tired of protecting him. Jenna had moved into his apartment almost immediately after I left. Nathan told everyone it proved they were meant to find each other again. For the first few weeks, they posted photographs from bars, road trips, and expensive restaurants. Nathan looked thrilled, as though he had escaped a dull life and finally found passion. Then the pictures disappeared. According to Samuel, Jenna began criticizing everything Nathan did. She mocked his job, complained about the apartment, and demanded expensive weekends he could not afford. When he questioned her spending, she accused him of being controlling. When he asked where she had been all night, she called him insecure. The words were painfully familiar. Nathan had once used them against me whenever I noticed him pulling away. Now he was hearing them from the woman he had chosen over me. Jenna convinced him to invest most of his savings in an online business she claimed would make them rich. The business never launched. The money vanished. Nathan later discovered she had used part of it to pay personal debts and fun trips with another man. Even after confronting her, he stayed. He told friends that Jenna was damaged and needed patience. Nathan had mistaken chaos for passion so completely that he defended the very behavior destroying him. Then she cheated. A mutual friend saw Jenna kissing another man outside a club. When Nathan confronted her, she laughed and reminded him that they had never officially discussed exclusivity. The argument became vicious. Jenna packed a bag, took Nathan's laptop, and disappeared for 3 days. When she returned, Nathan let her back inside. I heard all of this while sitting across from Marcus at a coffee shop. "Do you feel sorry for him?" he asked. I considered the question. I feel sorry that he is being treated badly. But I'm not responsible for saving him. That distinction mattered. Nathan's suffering did not erase what he had done to me. Soon, his messages changed from defensive to desperate. He contacted me through a new email address. "Edith, Jenna was a mistake. I was confused. You know me better than anyone. Please let me explain." I deleted it. Another followed 2 days later. "I lost money because of her. My job is in danger. I need someone who understands practical things. You were always good at fixing problems." There it was. He did not ask whether I was happy. He did not ask how deeply he had hurt me. He wanted the woman who organized his life to return and clean up the consequences of his choices. Then, early one morning, an unfamiliar number called. I answered without thinking. "Edith." Nathan's voice was raw. I almost hung up. "Please don't," he said quickly. "Just give me 5 minutes." "What do you want?" "Jenna left. She took money, my laptop, and some things that belonged to my father. I'm sorry. I need help. Call the police." "I already did. They said it might be difficult because she lived here." "Then speak to a lawyer." His breathing became uneven. "You sound like I'm a stranger." "You asked me to become one." "That isn't fair." I was confused. "No, Nathan. You were certain enough to ask me to wait while you dated her. I thought you would still be there." "I know." The silence between us stretched. Then his voice hardened. "You left before I could make my choice. Your choice stopped mattering the moment you made me an option. I was probably going to choose you." "That is not the compliment you think it is." He began crying. "You were always my stability. I need that back. You don't need me. You need to learn how to stand without using someone else as your foundation. You owe me a conversation after 4 years. I gave you one. You used it to tell me I was predictable." I ended the call and blocked the number. Nathan's family reacted immediately. His mother emailed me, claiming Jenna had manipulated him and that a compassionate woman would forgive a temporary lapse in judgment. His sister Melissa was less subtle. She left a voicemail accusing me of enjoying Nathan's downfall. "You know he is struggling," she said. "If anything happens to him, that guilt will be on you." I saved the message in case their behavior escalated, then blocked her too. While Nathan's life unraveled, mine continued moving forward. My manager promoted me to lead a major account and gave me a substantial raise. I used part of my savings for a down payment on a small condo with bright windows and a balcony overlooking the park. The day I received the keys, I stood in the empty living room and felt something inside me settle. For years, I thought building a future meant carrying another person toward it. Now I understood that a future could begin with one woman standing alone in an empty room, holding her own keys. Marcus helped me move. By then, our friendship had begun shifting into something warmer. He never pressured me. He simply showed up with coffee, carried boxes, and made me laugh when the furniture would not fit through the doorway. That evening, we ate takeout on the floor. "You seem different," he said. "How?" "Lighter." I looked around the condo. Nathan had called me predictable because I valued stability. But stability was not dull. It was safety. It was freedom. It was knowing that no one could force me to compete for a place in my own life again. 6 months after I left Nathan, closure arrived at a wedding neither of us could avoid. Our mutual friend Lisa was getting married at a garden venue outside the city. I had considered declining the invitation, but avoiding people because of Nathan felt like another way of allowing him to control my choices. So I went. Marcus came with me. By then, our relationship had developed naturally from friendship into something deeper. He never demanded that I prove I had moved on. He simply treated me with patience, consistency, and respect. The reception tent glowed beneath strings of warm lights. Music drifted across the lawn while guests moved between tables decorated with white flowers. For the first time in months, I felt completely at ease. Then I saw Nathan. He stood alone near the edge of the dance floor. His suit fit poorly, as if he had lost weight since I last saw him. His hair was unkempt, and the confidence he once carried had disappeared. He noticed me during the speeches. His eyes moved from my dress to Marcus beside me, then back to my face. The expression that followed was not love. It was disbelief. Nathan had expected me to remain suspended where he had left me. Instead, I looked happy. After dinner, I was speaking with an old college friend when Nathan approached. Edith. I turned slowly. Hello, Nathan. His eyes flicked toward Marcus, who remained seated at our table. Can we talk privately? No. Please. 5 minutes. There was desperation in his voice, but several guests were already watching. I did not want a public scene. I stepped toward a quiet area beside the bar, staying within view of Marcus. What do you want? Nathan twisted his hands together. Jenna is gone. I know. She cheated on me. She took my money and left me with debt. I lost my job because I couldn't focus. Most of my friends stopped calling. I listened without interrupting. He looked exhausted. I was wrong, Edith. Completely wrong. Yes. The simple answer unsettled him. He had expected reassurance. I should never have asked you to wait. No, you shouldn't have. I was confused. Jenna made me think I was missing something. You were not confused when you called me predictable. His face tightened. I was an idiot. But I understand now. You were the one person who always stood by me. That was the problem. What? You believed standing by you meant accepting anything you did. That isn't what I meant. It is what you expected. Nathan stepped closer. We can start over. I will go to therapy. I'll find another job. We can rebuild everything. There is nothing left to rebuild. Tears gathered in his eyes. 4 years, Edith. Doesn't that mean anything? It meant enough that I supported you through unemployment, family problems, and every difficult period you faced. Then why can't you forgive one mistake? Because it was not one mistake. I kept my voice calm. You contacted Jenna secretly. You compared me to her. You asked me to remain loyal while you explored another relationship. Then, when it failed, you came back because you needed stability. I came back because I love you. You came back because Jenna treated you the way you treated me. His expression hardened. So, you're enjoying this? No. You look pretty satisfied. I feel nothing about your downfall. That answer wounded him more than anger would have. He stared at me. You really don't care? I hope you recover, but I will not participate in that recovery. Nathan reached for my arm. I stepped back before he could touch me. You left without giving me the chance to decide, he said bitterly. I met his eyes. That is the part you still do not understand. What part? You never had the right to decide between me and someone else while expecting me to wait. I was going to choose you, and I chose myself first. His mouth opened, but no words came. Across the reception, Marcus watched quietly. He did not interfere or attempt to claim me. He trusted me to handle my past. Nathan followed my gaze. So that's him? Yes. You replaced me? No. Marcus is not filling your position. That position no longer exists. Nathan's sadness transformed into anger. You think you're better than me now. I think I deserve better than what you offered. You abandoned me when I needed you most. You discarded me when you believed you had better options. His voice rose. You can't erase 4 years. I don't need to erase them. I learned from them. Guests nearby had begun whispering. Nathan noticed and lowered his voice. I have nothing left. I remembered the night he sat on our sofa and smiled while asking me to wait. Back then, he had believed I would always remain available. Now his entire future depended on that assumption being true. But it was not. Your life is your responsibility, I said. just as mine became my responsibility the morning I left. He looked broken. Is that really all you have to say? No. I paused. You once told me you needed to think about your happiness. I finally understood that I needed to think about mine too. I turned away. Nathan called after me. Edith, please. I looked back once. You made your decision the moment you asked me to wait. You simply didn't realize I was allowed to make one too. Then I returned to Marcus. He stood and offered me his hand. Everything okay? I took it. Never better. We walked toward the dance floor while Nathan remained beside the bar, alone with the consequences he had once expected me to absorb. I did not hate him. Hatred would have kept part of me attached. What I felt was freedom. Nathan never got to choose between me and Jenna. By the time he understood my value, I had already built a life where his opinion no longer mattered. I had waited, just as I promised. But I had waited for myself to heal, to grow, and to become the woman who would never again accept being anyone's second option.